Ashwati, can you see the screen? Okay, okay. Okay,
Miss Kara.
okay. Only six of you are there. Okay, I'll start now. So, do you remember where we stopped yesterday? Anyone? Which section we were speaking about yesterday? Which topic did you learn yesterday? Okay, simulators. What is a simulator? Yes, simulator based debugging. Debugging is nothing but finding errors in your program. Okay, so now here the program that we are writing is the firmware. For embedded systems, we write firmware. So to debug errors in the firmware, we use simulators and emulators. So what is the difference between simulator and emulator? The main difference between a simulator and an emulator. There are two different tools used for debugging. One is simulator and another is emulator. So what is the main difference between a simulator and an emulator? Yeah, simulator is a software tool and emulator is a hardware tool. Yes, that's the main difference. Simulator is a software tool that helps in debugging, and emulator is a hardware tool that helps in debugging. So we know that embedded system has both hardware unit and software units. So to debug the hardware and software units, we need two types of tools, and they are called simulators and emulators. And simulators simulate what? Which part of the is it hardware or software? It is a software tool, and it simulates the target board, which is a hardware unit. So simulator is a software tool that simulates the hardware part of the embedded system, that is the target board and the processors, etc. So this using this simulator software, I can run my firmware even without the hardware unit. So it is easy to test the firmware before the development of the hardware itself. You don't need the hardware, the actual hardware to test your firmware. Instead, if you have the simulator tool, it will simulate all the functionalities of the target board, and you can test your firmware using the simulator tool. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear to you? Any doubt? So we were discussing about the advantages of simulator based debugging. So first advantage we said was no need of the original target board. Even without the original target board, this simulator software, it will simulate all the functionalities of the target board. And once you install the simulator in your system, you can check, you can run your firmware using this simulator tool. So you don't need the original target hardware. The advantage is that even before the development of the target board, you can test the firmware. So this helps in quick development of the product. So second is it helps in simulating IO peripherals. That is, for an embedded product, you have to give an input and you will get the output through some devices. So here, instead of giving input and taking output from actual devices, we can store input and output using registers and test the uh, product. So you can use the simulated inputs. That is, through registers, we can give an input values, and output values will also be stored in some other registers. And so these registers acts, it simulates the IO devices. And so you don't need the actual devices to view the input, to give the input and view the output. So the third advantage is that it can simulate abnormal conditions. So you can test the system by giving different inputs. So since we are giving input to registers, we can change the values in these registers, and that is the parameter values can be changed during debugging, and the firmware can be tested for all possible values, and the behavior of the firmware under abnormal conditions can be checked. So these are the advantages of using simulators. The main three advantages. There is no need of the original target board. It can simulate I/O peripherals, that is, you don't need the actual input and output devices. Then it can simulate abnormal conditions, and how the system responds to abnormal conditions can be viewed using a simulator tool. Now next we are going to the limitations of simulator-based debugging. What are the limitations or drawbacks of simulator-based debugging? So the first limitation is deviation from real behavior. That is, a developer, he may not be able to check or debug the firmware for all possible values of input. He might miss out certain values, the actual values that might occur, that might come across when the system is put into use. So such values, when given to the system, it might deviate from its behavior. So it is not possible for the developer to check all possible inputs, and if any unexpected input arrives, then the system deviates from what is actually written. That is, in the production environment, the system can expect can get unexpected values, and which the developer may not have tested, and this results in deviation from the original behavior of the system, and it may even lead to big losses. Then second is lack of real timeliness. That is, we said earlier, simulators only a tool, and you can just test your firmware using this tool, and it doesn't respond to real time. It is not operating in real time. So you can just input predefined values and test the system, and it will not accept real time inputs since it is a predefined software. So simulator-based debugging is not real-time in behavior, and it is only developer-driven. That is, the developer gives an input and he can test the output, and it doesn't work in real time. And example of a simulator is the soft phone. Have you heard of soft phones? Anyone? Have you seen a soft phone? Hello? What is a soft phone? People who have been doing projects might be knowing what it is. Android apps. You can get the software version of your phone. That is, your phone is a hardware device. You can get the software version of your phone, and you can give inputs. There will be keys similar to the user interface that we have in our phone. This software will give us all the interfaces. Okay, there is a software that emulates the phone, and this phone will give us, you get the same interface as you see in your phone. In the software also, you can see the keypad, you can give in inputs through the keypad and check the functionalities of this phone, just as you do in your handheld device for the actual phone. So this soft phone emulates the actual phone, and you can test the menu items, etc. through the soft phone. So this soft phone, it acts as a simulator for the actual phone. So initially around there were Nokia soft phones, and these simulators were used for doing projects. Even now, I have seen students downloading these simulators for doing Android apps. And so the softphone, it is used to test the functionalities of the various menu and the user interface. So the same user interface that you get in your phone will be there in the softphone also. Only thing you're viewing it in your screen, and you are using your mouse to click on the menus, and you're using mouse to click the buttons on the interface, just like you do in your user interface available to your phone. And this soft Hello, hello, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So it is a soft form model of the product, and it has all the user interface that you have in your actual phone, and you can use it for testing the various functionalities of the phone. So this simulator they use to generate soft models of embedded products. Thus, we use simulators to generate soft models. So that's why we said simulator is a software tool, and this simulates hardware devices. It is used to simulate hardware devices. Okay, so there is simulator, and it is used for debugging purpose, debugging the firmware. Then another tool that we can use for debugging is emulator. Okay, okay. Is it okay now? Hello? Okay. So, emulator. Emulator is a hardware device, and it emulates the functionalities of the target device. So, we said simulator is a software tool, but emulator is a hardware device, and it helps in real-time debugging. And we said simulator in simulator there is no, it doesn't support real-time debugging, but emulator is a device which substitutes the hardware device, and it can be used for real-time debugging of the embedded firmware. And so we had said two main differences between emulator and simulator. Simulator is a software tool used for debugging, whereas emulator is a hardware tool used for debugging. Another difference is that simulators they do not work real time, but emulators they allow real time debugging, and simulators they do not allow real time debugging, whereas emulators allow real time debugging of the embedded firmware. So can anyone say what are the main two differences between an emulator and a simulator? The two main differences which I had said now between a simulator and an emulator. Anyone? Which one allows real-time debugging? Emulator allows real-time debugging of embedded firmware, and simulator does not support real-time debugging. And another difference, the main difference which I said earlier, real-time debugging not allowed for simulator or emulator. Harida, simulator, okay. And emulator, it supports real-time debugging. And the first difference which I said was simulator is a software tool used for debugging firmware, and emulator is a hardware tool for debugging the firmware. So these two differences you should know it very well. Okay, what is the difference between a simulator and an emulator? Is it clear? Okay. So now we are going to debuggers. What are debuggers? So this section we have to cover simulator, emulator, and debuggers. So the last section is debuggers. Now, what is debugging? And what is the function of a debugger? So debugging in embedded application, it is the process of diagnosing the firmware execution, finding out whether the firmware is working correctly. If there are any problems, you are finding out the problems that are there in your that exist during firmware execution. So as the firmware execute, you can stop the firmware in between and check if everything is functioning well, and that process checking in as the firmware execute during the execution flow of the firmware is called debugging. So, and it is nothing but diagnosing the firmware execution. And the second point is that it monitors the target processors, registers, and memory while the firmware is running. While the firmware is in execution, the debugger can check the value of the register contents and the memory contents during the execution of the firmware at periodic at different intervals. The debugger can check the values in the registers and memory locations, and see whether the firmware is working correctly. Okay, so diagnosing, then monitoring, and the third is checking the signals from various buses of the embedded hardware, whether all signals are received correctly from various buses. Buses is the communication lines. So checking the signals from the hardware from various buses to check whether the hardware is functioning properly. So these are the main three functions of debugging in embedded application: diagnosing the firmware execution, monitoring the target processors, register and memory contents, and third is checking the signals from buses for the embedded hardware. So three main functions of debugging. Did you understand what are the three main functions of debugging? What are the three main functions of debugging? Hello? What are the three main functions I said just now? What are the three functions? Diagnosing, monitoring, and checking signals. Okay, just remember these three words: diagnosing, monitoring, and checking the signals. First is what is being diagnosed? Diagnosing the firmware execution. Okay, diagnosing the firmware execution. So here debugging, simulator, emulator, everything is used for checking the firmware. So here diagnosing means it is diagnosing, the debugger is diagnosing the execution of firmware. Then that is if there is any problem arising in the execution flow. Then second is monitoring. And what is the debugger monitoring? It is monitoring the registers and memory contents while the firmware is running. Okay, so monitoring the registers and firmware memory contents of the target processor while the firmware is in execution. Then last, checking the signals from the hardware for the embedded hardware, checking the signals from the buses. So these are the three functions, main functions of debuggers in embedded applications. Is it clear? So what are the three functions of debuggers in embedded application? Just say the three words which I have said now. Diagnosing, then diagnosing, monitoring, and checking. Okay, what is being diagnosed? What is being diagnosed? Diagnosing the firmware execution. Okay, Firmware execution. Okay, it is during execution time that debugging also takes place. Diagnosing the firmware execution. Then next is monitoring what? Monitoring. What does the debugger monitor? It monitors the contents of the registers and memory locations of the target processor. Okay, yes, register and memory location of the target processor. And third is checking for the signals from buses. Okay, checking for signals from buses. So these are the main functions of debuggers. Okay. Now, there are different types of debugging. The debugging process can be classified into two. Debugging process can be classified into two. First is hardware debugging and next is firmware debugging. So as we know, embedded product is a combination of both hardware and firmware. We have to debug both hardware and firmware. So there are two types of debugging involved. One is hardware debugging and the other is firmware debugging. Now what is hardware debugging? We said earlier, the third point, that is monitoring the various bus signals and checking the status line of the target hardware. That is called hardware debugging. This third point, that is checking the signals from various buses. This comes under hardware debugging. So it deals with monitoring the various buses. That is, it checks whether all hardware units are working properly. So by checking the signals from these devices. That is called hardware debugging. Then what is firmware debugging? The first 2 points which we said here comes under firmware debugging. That is diagnosing the firmware execution flow, firmware execution, the execution flow, then changes in the CPU register, and for a processor there will be status registers. And anyway, examining the contents of the registers and monitoring the execution flow comes under firmware debugging. So, and this ensures that the firmware is running as per the design. This is done to ensure that the firmware is running as per design. So, these 3 points which we have discussed here can be classified into two kinds of debugging. The first 2 points come under firmware debugging, and the second comes under hardware debugging. Okay. So, what are the different kinds of debugging? What are the different kinds of debugging? Ashwin, Ashwin, can you say the answer? Or you can type in your chat box. What are the different types of debugging? Nidilaj. Hello. Can you say the different types of debugging? All are a simple question, so simple. Those who have been listening might be able to answer easily. Hello. Harida. What are the different types of debugging? Sarga. Why nobody is responding? You can type it in your chat box. If you don't know the answer, say don't know. Shabna. Okay, hardware based and firmware based debugging. Okay. So hardware debugging, it deals with monitoring the bus signals and checking the status lines of target hardware. That is the three function among the 3 points we had said earlier. The last one comes under hardware debugging, and the first 2 points come under firmware debugging because it deals with firmware execution and the monitoring the processors, registers, and memory contents. So these are the two types of debugging. So what is a debugger? the debugger, we call the program which does the debugging process as the debugger. The debugger is a special program which is used for finding errors and bugs in other programs. So whether it is embedded system or any other system, a debugger is a program which is a special program which is used to find errors and bugs in other programs. And it allows the programmer to stop the program at any point and examine or change the values of variables. Like you can trace through the program, line by line, instruction by instruction. If it is an assembly language code, each assembly instruction can be checked for. After each assembly instruction, you can check the memory contents and register values. So it is a program that helps us to trace through a program, and it allows the programmer to stop in between and examine the values of the various the variables that you have been used, or you can examine the register contents of the processes, the status bits can be checked, etc. So this program allows us to find out errors in programs, other programs. So a debugging tool is a computer program that is used to test and debug other programs. So it is available as a tool. If you install it in your system, you can use this tool to test other programs. So as we said earlier, debugging, it diagnoses the firmware execution, the target processor register and memory location while it is running, and it checks for the signal. So see, these are the three things that are repeated often. Debugging, what is debugging? Here also we repeat the first 3 points again. So what is debugging process? What is the advantage of debugging, etc. Everything you can write the same answer. That is the first 3 points. Okay, is it clear? Just learn the first 3 points and you can write it everywhere where any question related to debugging. Okay. Is it clear? Hello? Any doubt? So, and now we are going to the different debugging techniques. So, debugging techniques differs for both hardware and firmware. So, for firmware, we have firmware debugging techniques, and for hardware, we have hardware debugging techniques. So, we are going to discuss what are the debugging techniques available for firmware, and after that, we will discuss what are the debugging techniques available for hardware. So, first, we are going to firmware debugging techniques. So the first technique for firmware debugging is called incremental EEPROM burning technique. EEPROM is electrically erasable and programmable ROM. Okay, the first method is EEPROM burning technique for firmware debugging. EEPROM burning technique. Incremental, this word is important, incremental EEPROM burning technique. So what is the full form of EEPROM? What is the full form of EEPROM? Saurabh. Sriraj. Hello. It is electrically erasable and programmable ROM. So the first technique for debugging firmware is incremental EEPROM burning technique, and it is the most primitive debugging technique where the code is separated into different functional units. The firmware to be tested is separated into several blocks of code or several functional code units, and each functional code unit is separately cross-compiled and it is burned into the chip, that is the EEPROM, one by one. So first it will burn the first functional unit which has been cross-compiled, and then it will be this EEPROM will be plugged into the target board and it will be tested, and whether this particular firmware for the first functional code unit is working properly. If this functional code unit is working properly, then the next functional unit, that is the next block of code, will be burned into the same EEPROM, and then it will be again plugged into the target board, and again the second block of code will be tested. Likewise, whichever blocks you have, so how many blocks you have divided, all these blocks will be tested one at a time. And then if all the functional code blocks are working properly, then the entire block is burned into this EEPROM, and the final embedded firmware will be plugged into the target board for execution. So that is, this method is called incremental EEPROM burning technique. So every time the same process is repeated, that is, first block is taken, it is cross-compiled, and it is burned into this EEPROM and tested on the target board. If the first functional block unit is working properly, then the second functional block is burned into EEPROM and it tested. So each functional block is tested individually. Once if all the blocks are functioning properly, the entire block of code will be burned into the EEPROM and it will be tested on the target board. Okay. So the drawback is that it is a time-consuming process, but it is once the software is functioning properly, then it can be given for mass production. So did you understand what is EEPROM burning technique? Incremental EEPROM burning technique. Incremental means it is testing one block at a time. The first block will be tested. Once it is successfully tested, then the second block will be burnt into EEPROM and it will be tested. And again, this goes on for all blocks of code. And once all blocks have been tested successfully, then the entire firmware will be burnt into the EEPROM and it will be plugged into the target board for final execution. Okay. Any doubt in that method? Hello? Abhinav, is it okay? Hello? Ashwati, am I audible to you? Ashwati, हमारी रिस्पॉन्ड या तक तो जम जाए कि मैंने की कनेक्शन हुई. Okay, okay. 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 So that is first method, that is incremental EEPROM burning technique. This method for testing, debugging firmware. And second method is a monitor program based firmware debugging. That is, there will be a monitor program, it acts as a supervisor, and this program, it will control the user code. And this controlling the user code means it will inspect and it modifies the register contents, the memory locations, etc. And also it allows stepping of your source code. That is, it helps to stop at a particular moment and then check the values. So it is this program that controls the entire execution flow of the firmware. And this monitor program, it will be burnt into a flash memory or ROM of the target board, and that ROM is called the monitor ROM. And once it is plugged into the target board, it helps us to debug the firmware for the firmware flow by stopping the firmware in between and testing for the register content. So this program that helps us to monitor the program flow is called the monitor program, and this will be burned into a ROM called the monitor ROM, and it will be plugged into the target board. So that is one method. Using monitor program, you can debug the firmware. The second method I missed out. The second method was using inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. Inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. Second method is inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. The one that we discussed now was monitor program based firmware debugging. That is the third method. The second method is inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. That is, you might come across this technique when you are writing even your C code. That is, if you find that there are certain errors at particular point in your code, you will write a printf statement to check the contents of the variables. So just like putting some, inserting some code in between to test the firmware, this also inserts certain code in between, or it will insert certain breakpoints in between, so that up to that point you can test the value of the registers. So it is a primitive method and it inserts inline debug code. The code that we insert for testing is called inline debug code, and this code helps us to stop in between, or this code will output some values and we can inspect these values to check if there is some error in execution. So the debug code can be a printf function, like if you're using C code, then it can be a printf function and it can print a message like the program execution in main, or the program is executing in this function, etc. Some messages can be given like that. Or you can even print the values of variables. So after inserting the debug code, it is cross-compiled, and after cross-compilation, this debug code will work along with your main code and you will get the output corresponding to the debug code you have written. So this code, the debug code, after compilation, it will be burned into EEPROM. And once it is burnt into EEPROM, and when it is plugged into the target board, and when the target board is powered up, it will start execution. And this debug code will work along with your normal code, and you can view the output of the debug code on the terminal. So just as we did before, along with your firmware, you are inserting some code called the debug code, and then you are cross-compiling the firmware along with the debug code, and you are running it into an EEPROM, and this EEPROM is plugged into the target board, and the target board is powered up. This debug code will also work along with your firmware code, and the different outputs obtained can be viewed on the terminal. That is inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. So we have discussed three methods: incremental EEPROM burning technique, then a breakpoint based firmware debugging technique, and the last one, monitor program based firmware debugging. Okay, we have two more, so we'll discuss it in the next class. Okay, attendance please. Number 1, Abhilash. Abhinav. Number 2. Number 2, Abhinav. Okay, number 5. Number 5. Number 6. Number 6, Anushri. Number 6, absent. Number 7, Arjun. Number 8. Number 9. Number 11. Number 12, Pabina, absent. Number 13. Number 14. 16. 17. 18. 20. 22. 23. 24. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. Ashwati, 32. 33. 33, Harida. Number 3, Amal. Okay. 33, Harida, net problem ano? Okay, okay. So absent is 6 and 12. Number 6 and 12 absent. Okay, thank you. Okay, present. Present ആണ് Harida. I marked your attendance. Okay. Thank you.